Local 1166. I hope everybody is still doing well, and I hope those of you who are in the plant working are having fun and dealing with everything that's going on in there. There's a lot of issues that were brought up with the people in the plant, and so a lot of things that we're trying to get tweaked, with lack of a better way of saying it. We are addressing those issues that are coming up. So please keep your questions coming and any concerns that you have coming, so I can get those addressed. If we don't know what's, you have to inform us. We can't read minds, and we can't go out there and know everything that's going on. The first off, we had a meeting this morning talking about the mask and the gate. So under no circumstances whatsoever should you ever remove your mask, pull it down, break the plane of your nose, pull it down to where they can get a temperature out in that tent. Absolutely, we are not doing this at 100%. If you have any issues where they're asking you to do that, do not do it and call for your representation. That's idiotic to have a policy to do 100% of the time, and they're asking you this one time to go ahead and pull it down so they can get an accurate reading. They did change out one of the units in gate 7 with the one that was in the main lobby. And I think they did verify that it was working, but nonetheless, there's always those instances where something's gonna happen where they're gonna ask you to do it. So please do not do it. They direct, it's their policy to wear the mask, keep the mask on, except whether you're eating, drinking, or smoking. If they ask you to do it, contact or call for your representation, and do not honor what they're asking. The second thing, so we're having some issues with the SWI at the workstations. Management was instructed when this all rolled out to go out there and instruct the people in their areas to follow the standard work instructions. So if you're at your workstation, it's supposed to give you the NPM numbers to go get your gloves and your cleaning supplies, but theirs are supposed to be set up at a workstation. And they are going to be utilizing probably the team leaders and maybe even the troubleshooters if management can't get around to doing it, to help our people out to go out there and get, the supplies that they need to clean their machine or their work area. With that being said, management needs to start over. They have instructed some people, but not everybody. But in a meeting this morning, we made sure that they're going to start from the bottom, so to speak. Everybody that's in there now and everybody that will be in there will be instructed on their standard work instructions to know that they have 10 minutes at the beginning of the shift to clean their work areas up prior to starting up the machine. And I know it's a pain sometimes. You shut a machine down, it takes longer to start it back up and you're fighting it, but this is a policy that we have to enforce, and we're doing this for your own good. You need to be responsible for your safety and wipe your areas down. If you have any questions with that, again, get with your representation. But management is supposed to call everybody up in a huddle up meeting and have those conversations where they will put that information out. Fans, so they had a problem with the pedestal fans yesterday, and it got blown out of proportion. It was a knee-jerk reaction. So management's been instructed, or going to be instructed, they took some pedestal fans to Cuneo, they're going back over to Cuneo, they're going to bring those pedestal fans back and hook them up. The intent of that memo that was brought down by corporate was if you're in an isolated area in a break room, where it's confined space, so to speak, you can't have a fan blowing everything around in an area that doesn't have fresh air running through it. We have our overhead doors open, and there's no reason to take fans away. So they agreed with that, so the fans are gonna be put back. So another big thing, and this is, take this with a grain of salt. Don't blow up, don't call us over at all of it, because we're still getting additional information. But the intent is to bring back everybody back, start the week of June the 8th. So they're gonna start making those phone calls. They want everybody back in the facility the week of June the 8th. Again, this is subject to change. Everything changes in this place. When I put something out, I can turn this off, and before you know it, 5 minutes later, something else changes. So with that being said, next week, expect a phone call for return to work on June the 8th. And then once we get everybody back in there, you have to be able to read the economy. So if you go out there, if you're not paying attention, you really need to pay attention to the news, what's going on in the automotive industry. You really need to stay in touch with what's going on. If you look at the automotive industry, there's nobody out there buying a lot of cars right now. If you look at Mexico and China, which produce parts, there's all kinds of whatever's going on with that. And hopefully one day we'll get that all worked out and bring all that work back to the US. But Mexico's having their own issues with this coronavirus, so you can't get your parts suppliers, you know, to provide parts to those facilities that need it. So with that being said, they're not selling the vehicles. So you look at the 9-speed that doesn't sell very well anyways. So look for, don't count on, call everybody back and then there'll be another layoff. So we don't know right now whether it's gonna be an indefinite layoff, could be a temporary inverse layoff, however they wanna word it. But the more information I get next week, which I'll get more information on this next week, because they're supposed to give us either a number or percentage, if they're gonna have a layoff, what it's gonna be. I will put that information out. So look for next Friday, another video, and hopefully I'll be able to give you everything, you know, and educate you on what the plan is once you do return. I hope it's not that case, but again, you need to actually pay attention to the economy. If nobody's buying vehicles, then obviously there's no need for, you know, mass produce all these parts if nobody's buying. And that's from the company stance, not from the union stance. But we still have to make sure that we maintain those machines and run those parts that we're supposed to, because as providing the workforce by the United Auto Workers, we are there to supply them with the workforce. So they have a business plan, albeit sometimes it's not a very good business plan, but we have to follow their business plan. So we are the workforce, so we go in there and provide those parts. So they may not run these parts 1, 2, 3 weeks, the rest of the year, whatever the case is. They may run these other parts because these aren't selling. So those are the things that you have to look at. Or you can all go out and buy new vehicles. It's your choice. But hopefully we'll learn more about that, and then I'll put more information out as it comes. And also, we've been trying to get some conversations, some feedback, some proof, or whatever you want to call it, from the benefits extending for your medical and your dental, vision, like they did in April and they did in May. So again, they're going to extend that through the end of June. This is what we're being told. However, if you want clarification, because we're not getting the clarification right now from the people we need it from, we're only getting word of mouth, you need to call Benefits Connect and ask them to make sure you're covered prior to having any kind of procedure done. Again, make sure you call Benefits Connect, because right now we're not getting anything in writing. We just know it, we've heard it's going to be, but we haven't received anything yet. And again, as soon as I get off this video, the VP will probably send out a letter and do it. And if that happens, I will give that to the Education Committee and they can present that. Also, when you return to work, make sure you read the packet, the return to work instructions. The return to work instructions, if anybody has read those, it allows you additional time. Like I said before, the 10 minutes prior to startup, you have 10 minutes to wipe your area down. With the cleaner or disinfectant, however you want to call it, you spray it on there, you let it set 1 minute, then you wipe it down. It used to be 3 minutes, now it's 1 minute, you let it sit, you wipe it down. But also on those return to work instructions, it does give you additional time to take a break. It's got a break extension on it, and it's got a lunch break extension. That is to allow people, if you go to the satellite break room, and there's too many people, it gives you the opportunity, either number one, walk to a different area, the cafeteria, outside, to have your lunch or take your break. It does give you those extensions. Management is supposed to notify people of that, and they have failed to do that. Again, that's one of the meetings we had this morning, and they're going to reiterate that to people, and they're going to have their huddle up meetings, and all this information is going to be put out. If you have any questions, you need to ask those questions whenever you have those huddle up meetings. And this is for the people that's in there now, and this is for the people that will return. Make sure you ask questions. Everything's not getting put out. And that's one of our arguments was this morning, is they're putting all this protocol, these procedures out, but nobody's following it. That's because nobody on the floor knows what's going on. You can't go hit and miss and get 2 people out of 10 that's heard it, and the other 8 don't know what's going on. And then Susie's telling Bobby, this is what I heard, and Bobby's going by what Susie said, but Susie left out something. So we need everybody to make sure that you understand. Make management provide you those instructions. Any safety protocol that's put in place, it's management's job to enforce it, as well as the union, because we're never going to argue against safety protocol. With me saying that, management has to read you if there's a safety procedure. They have to get you in a huddle up meeting. Management has to read that to you. It's not a team leader's job to do it. It's It's not a troubleshooter's job to do it. It's not an operator's job. Management's job. Whoever the designated manager in that area should get his people together in the huddle-up meeting and provide that. This is the safety talk for this month. Provide it, you sign off on it, you're good to go. We're not gonna no longer buy off on a team leader giving it. That's BS. You're not gonna walk up to the machine here, read that, sign here. Half the time people don't even read the thing because they're too busy operating their machine. They set it down, gets blown away, gets thrown in trash, whatever the case, and then they never read it. It's management's job to read the safety talk to the people, members on the floor, and then they sign off on it saying that they have received that talk. So we can't pencil whip that stuff anymore. And if it does not happen, you need to notify your representative that it's not happening because it needs to get fixed. Do not put, so if you're in the plant and you're required to wear your safety glasses and your mask, and yes, it is uncomfortable, and we're working on those day-to-day, trying to find a way to do mission essential tasks in the plant without the safety mask and all this, and your 6 feet of social distancing and all this other stuff. Don't put management in a situation where you got your mask under your chin. You're not eating, you're not drinking, you're not smoking, you're just whatever the case is. Don't put them in a situation where they got to go out there and issue discipline. You know how this is, they're going to make an example of somebody. Don't be that example. If you see somebody, you know, say, hey, please, you know, come on, man, we all got to follow the rules. We can't have a meeting with management and yell at them for putting a protocol or a procedure out where we have to wear the mask the whole time, with the exception of eating, drinking, and smoking, and then turn around and go in the plant and pull the mask down, and then go out there and represent the person that had the mask down when we're telling management they got to enforce the policy because we don't want them, our members, to pull their mask down for no reason whatsoever. So you can't have it both ways. They can't have it both ways. So do your due diligence. Keep your mask on unless you're in one of those situations, or you're changing it out because it's saturated with sweat or whatever, it got dirty or whatever the case is. Just don't put yourself in a situation where management has to do something. You don't want to be a guinea pig. Okay, the bumps to your shift. So everybody that's in there now, we're not full capacity. So if you got called back the first week, second week, or whatever the case is, and you know there's somebody under lower seniority on the shift that you originally were on, and you're trying to get back to that shift, you do have the right now to put a bump in to get back to your shift. It'll take you back to the department. May not take you back to the area that you came from, but it will take you back to your department. So you do have that luxury right now to make sure there's somebody at lower seniority, put a bump in. If you're on thirds, to go back from seconds to thirds, put it in. I mean, you're entitled to that, contract covers that. But on the flip side of that, whenever we get everybody back to full capacity, this was the agreement that was made, everybody goes back to where they came from. If you're on third shift blocks, you're going back to third shift blocks. You will go back to the machine that you ran, you go back to the shift. Everything goes back to normal. We're not trying to tip the apple cart here. We want everything back. It runs much smoother when everybody goes back to where they're at. So that was part of the discussions and the agreement that we had, and that goes the same thing as trades. Trades are going to do the same thing. Wherever they came from, they're going to go back, and we're all going to be, you know, as if we didn't leave, so to speak. So you have any questions about that? Again, call one of your committeemen, and we'll address that. Okay, the bonus that we have coming up, payout June the 12th. Again, this could go either way. So if we get everybody called back to start of the week of the 8th, this won't be effect. This won't take effect. You won't have to claim the $500 bonus on your unemployment. But right now, in the letter that they put out was posted yesterday, you're supposed to give it to your state unemployment office to find out if you're supposed to claim that. If you go on that uplink site, one of the things that says in there that you have to claim is bonuses. I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just telling you what it is. The $500 payout bonus, I believe it's June the 12th, you have to claim that on your unemployment. In the state guidelines under uplink, I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just telling you that's the way it's supposed to be. You can do what you may. Again, the overpayment from the state. So if you're getting overpayment from the state, and if you don't send them an electronic check to pay the balance off, they're going to charge you a fee to use a credit card or even the same debit card that they issued, they're gonna charge you a fee. It makes no sense to pay you this much money and then they're getting more money in return. That's just the way the government works. I mean, you can't fight that. It'd be nice to be able to fight it. We're still trying to get some kind of guidelines from HR and corporate. What if scenarios, if you pay it back, I mean, how do you have to have proof to get the sub paid? And they're still working through some of those, but right now, I believe that sub is not making any requirement to show proof of payback. It's whatever else that you got generated on that uplink site when you click on that date, whatever it says on there. Again, if you have any issues about any of these benefits whatsoever, contact James Boyer, 765-454-1761, and he can answer your questions. He's been dealing with this all week trying to get answers, and unfortunately we're not getting much help from either side to try to figure out what we're supposed to do, because the state of Illinois, the state of Michigan, the state of Ohio, everything's totally different than what the state of Indiana is. The state of Indiana likes to have their cake and eat it too. We just have to follow it because you can't fight the government like that. So again, contact James Boyer and he can answer any of your questions that you have. If you have any questions whatsoever, again, submit those questions. We would like to continue this, try to do it once a week. And even if it's not me, the education committee is going to start educating people on contractual stuff, language, or whatever we need to. I think this is a good idea, and it gets out a lot smoother and better to get out to the members. So again, if you have any questions, contact whoever on the education committee or contact myself and we'll get those answers. We really don't need anything on social media to blow up. So there's such a thing as an overreaction. We go to the floor and take the instance of fans. The fans get blown up. Oh, they're taking our fans. They put it on Facebook. Next thing it gets blown out of proportion. It doesn't need to happen that way. Management does something, you need to instruct the leadership, the stewards, the committeemen, or myself, whoever. We need to be notified. We can't be everywhere. We get notified, we go up and address it. That's how that's supposed to work. It doesn't go to social media and get blown out of proportion, then the next thing you know, well, the union's not doing anything. Well, okay, the union's not doing anything because we don't know what they're doing. This was a knee-jerk reaction by management to go out there and just start pulling the fans. If you see something, you have to report it. We don't know everything. We don't know what's, the same thing with shipping when they ship out parts to another vendor or something. 9 times out of 10, they report that to us and we go up there and get it stopped. But you guys gotta be our eyes as well. I mean, we're fighting for these jobs and we're fighting for your health and safety. But if we don't see something, we can't pounce on it when we need to. So again, for those people, expect a call next week for a return to work date on June the 8th. Again, all this stuff is subject to change because everything changes daily in this place, just like it does up north and with international and corporate. Again, any questions whatsoever, let us know. And I appreciate your time and hope to see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.